This is it right here. It all comes down to this. Game 5, Eager from North America, Obey from Europe. Who will come out on top and who's gonna ban out what first? It's gonna be Obey's turn.
Yeah, and I know it's really interesting that you also point that out, because the thing is, we've been talking about how much of an emotional roller coaster it has been for the audience here to watch these games, but I can't even begin to imagine the emotional roller coaster the players are experiencing, and I'm really excited seeing that raw pick go ahead and be taken away on the side of Obey. Eager, I feel like they're probably just going to opt for the standard bans. I think that banning out the Sylvanas is a good choice, or the Nike. I think that that's a really safe option by them, you know. Obey haven't really been having as much success, and Twig hasn't been on that Nike, so I think that there's definitely a lot of correlation there.
Yeah, I think just don't give Twig the Nike at this point. I mean, he's undefeated at Worlds so far with the character, so they're going to have to keep banning that. We see the Guan Yu raw ban focusing on sustains. They don't want to deal with the heal. They say, no more heals for you. But that does leave open, well, I was going to say it would leave open Sylvanas, but they banned it.
Nah, Eager have stayed true. I mean, these are the bans they've been rolling with, the first two that they've chosen the past couple of games, and they've been finding success in these games since. And it looks like Obey are going to go ahead. They want Prime on that Zeus. And I mean, this is a really risky option for Obey. So, you know, they could be trying to pull a salty run back, you know, like Best did with Anubis. I mean, Prime on Zeus is still pretty dangerous, and you can see Eager right away looking for that Ratatasker. DJ has been having phenomenal games on this.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised not to see a Terra pick here. This is something that we've seen throughout Super Regionals and the Worlds, this highly contested Terra pick. You normally see it first or second pick, and here we see it's just completely open, no team picking it. But instead, they prioritized the same first pick they went for with the Zeus. And we're going to have to see if Team Eager kind of run the same style of strategy with the Janus, perhaps, so they can get on top of the Zeus, maybe that Xingtian, to kind of keep on top of him and make his life a living hell. He was not able to cast last game because Devios was just on top of him, just mowing down.
Interesting fact about that last game, too. Terra, who's been a priority throughout this entire competition, was neither picked nor banned. So that kind of just shows you where things are right now with these two teams.
I think what it's
outplaying each other.
It shows is Obey won't pick Terra, right? So they're giving away some information for the finals if they do make it. So whoever's there, right? They're saying we don't really like picking Terra. Yeah. And Team Eager also is saying they don't like picking Terra.
Clearly.
I mean,
they like picking Anubis.
Anubis over Terra. This is how, please, ranked players, don't try this at home.
Oh, I'm excited for when we get home. This is going to be a really fun time. But Best, again, I mean, we've seen him have success on this Anubis. We've also seen it not have a whole lot of success. But, I mean, the same thing could be said about the Zeus. I think really smart of Eager to go ahead and take away the Tyr and the Thanatos. Two picks that we've seen Variety really comfortable on. They already have Ratatasker selected, which was another pick that we've seen Variety display very well. So he's going to have to dive a little bit deeper. We haven't seen any Amir gameplay out of him yet, and that's definitely a god that, you know, Variety has a whole lot of potential on. So I feel like there's possibility here that he might pull it out.
Ymir's definitely a strong pick here. You can put the wall up to block in Anubis, the Rat Dash, the Xingwei Dash. It would definitely be a potent pick. On top of that, you have a character that can kind of frontline for the Zeus, use the freeze to set up the damage, and it's quite a safe pick with the Kepri behind him. It definitely would be an option for Variety. We're going to see the depth of his god pool right here.
Yeah, and like you were talking about, the hard CC, not just for the engagements for Zeus, but I feel like that freeze would be really important in getting Prime out of really difficult situations, or that focus that he was experiencing, because that was something he was struggling with. And Eager taking that route away from him, I really think that that was a very smart decision by Eager. Variety is definitely under fire here.
Yeah, they know that this guy has been a difference maker in this matchup, and they want to be able to just shut him out completely. Now it's time here, and it looks like they're hovering over the Nox.
This would be crazy. If he's going to bring out the solo lane Nox, I think I'm going to lose my mind. I can't put money on him doing it. No, this would be a lot more kind of Variety or Captain Swaggex. You might see that Erlang going into the solo lane. But Fenrir, a great character against this comp, can get on top of Anubis, force his hand a little, you know, force his ultimate out, force his grab out.
Definitely. I really like the Chrono selection as well. Ataraxia sticking to the mages, and I feel like Chronos and Solar are both two mages that can actually kind of deal with Jingwei a bit better if you're looking for the mage ADC route, considering that Chronos has the stun. So, as well as the fact that he has the rewind, which helps him in the boxing against the Jingwei, because should Zatman take up a trade that, you know, he finds himself 50% or less at, Ataraxia could definitely come up big here.
And I think this right here just speaks to the confidence if he goes with it that Divios has, and he goes for it. He feels like this is going to give them the victory and take them to the finals. This is it. It all comes down to this. Who do you got, guys?
I want to see NA.
All right,
First
Taco's
blood.
got NA. What about for you, Suntouch?
I want to see you win, but Team Eager, I think they're going to take it. I love their draft. I like how they've developed it, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to throw my hat on Team Eager here.
Ooh, all right, guys. Well, this is it. Get hyped in the crowd. It's Game 5. The throwdown begins. Who comes out on top? Will it be Eager? Will it be Obey? Casters, over to you.
It would not be the World Championships, and it would not be a semi-final at the World Championships if it wasn't a Game 5 involved.
We had to know this was coming. Even when Obey looked so great for the first 2 games, we had to know that this would happen. It's the semifinals of the World Championship. This happens every year.
And take yourselves back to year 1 at Worlds as well, the finals. Titan, Pretty Prime, and Ataraxia were 2 games down. They fought back against that cognitive team to get themselves 2-2. They are on the mirror of this story right now.
And they're in a bad spot, in my opinion, because Eager's draft is beautiful. I love their drafting phase that they just put together, taking Variety's Ymir away after the banning phase, not only keeping it out of Variety's hands, but also putting it into a great matchup. Ymir excels against Zeus, against Kepri, even against Kronos and Erlong.
Bombolo, we were listening, we were talking to John Picks and Fans, and you turned around to me and said, you think Eager's got this now. Why?
I feel like DVL's played so comfortable on that Jing 10. He's got that, he's ready to go in. Zatman's pumped as well. They took the Ymir off Variety. I think that was a really good strat. And I feel like Best is going to play on this Anubis, and I feel like he's going to go off.
I do feel like Obey have had to go very deep in their god pools as this tournament has gone on here, especially in this 5-man set against Eager. And Eager, meanwhile, they still seem to be sticking to their traditional, what they brought for most of the tournament.
And exactly, that's right. Especially DJ Pernicus on this Ratatosker looked so comfortable on it in the last game, so I really like this draft from Eager. I can't say it enough.
Well, let's see how things begin this game round, because right now there's 4 members of Eager on the left-hand side once more. Once again, potentially looking to steal away the red buff.
Now this time, Twig is actually heading over, while on the right-hand side, you've got the Soul Laner and Panda-like ready to fight Divios on this right side, putting a little bit of pressure onto him, while on the left-hand side, Buff getting leashed back and forth. Captain Twig has the Rat, that's why you see him over here. Aurora does not. They're just relying on the early damage from Ymir.
So right now, look at what Eager does, though. They fall back, and you can see Zatman will get the balls on the left-hand side as the best solos are mid-harpies. So still, Eager do get some experience there, but it's not as much as Obey just got.
And no buffs completed on the right-hand side either, so Variety and Panda-like hanging out over here. 3 members in the middle lane for Eager. You can see on the right-hand side, Panda-like and Variety able to out-clear Divios. They're going to rotate into the right-hand side, as does Eager.
I feel like DJ Penicus picking this right into Zeus again. He did really well, and it made Pretty Prime uncomfortable. What about you, Agro? What do you think about that one?
It was the combination of DJ Pernicus and Divios on that Xing Chen. I love the pressure they put onto Pretty Prime. But on the other hand, I really like this Kepri pick for Panda-like for that exact same reason. This time, you're going to have a support that can actually peel for the mid laner. Odin, terrible at peeling.
Well, Odin's
Kepri,
engaged.
one of the best.
Odin's just engage and try and lock down away from your carries, whereas literally Kepri will allow your carry to just respawn one more time.
Well, that's the problem, again, is that there isn't a whole lot of engage for Obey a second time in a row. They're really relying on the long-range poke from Variety, and then Captain Twig being the initiator with Ragnarok.
Well, good opportunity there, exploited by Obey. They steal the red buff on the left-hand side of the map and trade their balls back that they lost a little bit earlier on. that we saw Zapman take away.
Zap gonna get some good poke onto Panda-like, but it's Ataraxia he's looking at, not able to find the auto attacks. Ataraxia just a little bit too fast.
But good work from Zapman there, up against two of us on the right-hand side, the speed invade from Eagers here.
Captain Twig stunned out, he's got the tank boots. Is it gonna be enough to finish him? No, the tank boots coming up huge for Captain Twig in the jungle. He will save his life, but he'll lose his speed buff.
And you can see Variety just a little bit too late there with that speed buff to try and get involved, but hang on a second. Looks like Ataraxia and Panda-like return the favor to Zap a little bit there.
Zap, that was all Ataraxia. Looks like Panda-like in base, so Ataraxia able to force Zapman back yet again, though he is playing Jingwei, so it's not as impactful.
Yeah, don't forget that the Jingwei passive is going to play a crucial part into this Cronus Jingwei matchup. Cronus also has the wave clear as well as Jingwei, so it's up to if they want to box or if they don't want to box.
Big key though is whether they're going to do or not. We'll just find out as this one continues here as well. As we hear at the Cobb Energy Center in Atlanta, just so you know, local time, this set started at 1:30 and it is currently just past 5 here in the event. That just shows how long this set has gone on, and that's a lot of pressure on these boys to play at this level for so long.
And you can talk about that football, how grueling it is to play Smite at this sort of level, to have that sort of focus and concentration for this long. It's very difficult to stay focused.
Yeah, it's really rough playing in a best of 5. You start losing your momentum, and some people don't have the energy to keep going and playing on a top level.
And the worst thing is, at the highest level as well, just one small mistake, and you could really lose the game.
Without
Especially
a doubt.
in the late games as well. In the late game, if you make a mistake or one mistake, that could change the entire team fight.
Exactly. It hasn't been one team rolling over another back and forth. It's been very long games, at least the last 2. And those are always harder to stay focused throughout and then again afterwards. And Polar Bear Mike sitting right next to us here in the booth, and he was talking to me about how he's been in these situations where he tries to come back from these best of 5s. And even when you win the next 2 games, it is so difficult to battle back and win 3 in a row in these
And there's so
scenarios.
much pressure on this game 5 as well. Some people can't take it, and other people thrive on that pressure as well.
Well, we'll find out who thrives this game, but for sure, I guarantee you, Zapman will be looking to thrive like he has all set long so far. The speed buff on the right-hand side, it looks like it was stolen away there by Panda-like with a cheeky one over the wall.
Wow, that's Panda-like for you. I mean, you saw how much he got in the head of Best last time around. Baited Best into getting himself killed by Pretty Prime. That's exactly what he does so well.
Speaking of Panda-like, for me, if Panda-like ults to Zeus and Zeus stays alive, or if he can get the revive off, I think Pretty Prime can carry this game. So I think Panda-like is one of those wild card type of people where if he can get that ultimate off and keep the Zeus alive for the team fights, I think Obey have a really good chance.
And you need that little bit of wild card. You need that little bit of luck when you're going this deep into the set as well. Left-hand side, the red buff is stolen away by Obey. Zapman engaged on for a second by Twig, but it's all focused on farm from Obey.
Zapman doesn't want to let it go, but he doesn't really have much of a choice. Panda-like is here. Aurora finds the freeze, but it's the Zeus ultimate coming down on top of Ymir. Best, he's the lighthouse, but doesn't have quite enough damage. Pretty Prime gets a kill there, 2 the way of Obey.
And it was 2 free kills, so pretty much 1 ultimate. That's all that was used was Prime's ultimate there. Didn't have to force anything too much. They just set him up and he went, thanks very much.
The shell never even got popped there from Aurora. Never got the chance to get it off. Obey get 2 kills. They get the boards. They get the Gold Fury as well.
And Aurora has to be especially careful, especially against a Fenrir, a Variety who's on Erlang Shen. All this CC is really hard to play against as a Ymir.
And I mentioned it earlier on, I love Ymir into the Zeus, into the Kepri, but that's when Ymir is on the offensive. On the defensive end, he very much struggles against gods like Variety's Erlang Shen that can CC him from a distance and allow the damage dealers to really pick on that immobile aspect of Ymir.
And if Ymir's playing it defensive against the Captain Twig who's playing Fenrir, or a Zeus, or a Fed Capri as well, it's really hard to play, and I feel like Aurora might be able to get farmed on.
Well, it's around a 1,700 gold lead early on for Obey now with the invades that have happened and that Gold Fury too. Take into account as well that First Blood comes into play, and I'm looking at where those kills actually went to.
The best case scenario is where those kills actually went to. Ataraxia gets the First Blood, and then Pretty Prime's able to pick up the second one, and then that Gold Fury on top of that. These are the 2 that are going to be looking to carry. Last time it was Variety, also on a damage dealer. You wanted him to get ahead early. but this time it's solely on the shoulders of Pretty Prime and Ataraxia.
Well, hang on a second, because it's Panda-like over to the solo lane this time to put a bit of pressure onto Devios there for a second, but bringing down Jing Ten's not going to be an easy task, as the left-hand Harpies, Captain Twig's here, and he goes in.
Oh, the wall, just keeping Captain Twig off of them. He goes over top, but it's enough to dissuade Eager from going on top of it. Captain Twig actually cancels his Brutalize, running in a circle, rush Twig, can't go fast enough. DJ able to pick up the kill.
Don't know what Twig was really thinking there, let's be honest. He dives in against 3 members alone. Team was a little bit too far away. Yeah, he could have got revived from Capri, but that's all that would have happened there overall. Funballer, nerves?
I'm not sure why he ulted there. I think he might have misclicked a button, or sometimes that happens, especially in this type of game where you're on the best of 5 as well.
I understand the ult, I think, just to try and give him momentum to get away, but like the engage on the initial part was very strange.
I think he was trying to bait out the wrap from Best. You could see him use the Brutalize, then immediately cancel it. You're a free target to get wrapped whenever you're brutalizing the Anubis. I think he was trying to sidestep it by canceling it right away, but Best read him like an open book, was able to find it and pick up the assist on the kill. But even despite that, look at the level disparity between Pretty Prime and Best in the middle lane. 2 levels in favor of Obey's mid.
And that's what you want Zeus to do. You want him to be ahead as well, especially against a Anubis. If Anubis is behind, we said this before as well, and if Anubis is behind, he's not going to do as much as a Zeus late game.
Very, very true indeed. Well, you did see there that Obey did manage to steal away the red buff after Twig respawned with the Wrath, and once again, the ball's on the left-hand side away from Zapman.
Another wall coming out from Aurora, but not impactful, as we've seen Twig jump over those time and time again. Pretty Prime here in the middle lane as well, almost finishing off those boots, whereas you can see Best going for that Pythags rush yet again. We've seen him do this every single game he's played Anubis, neglecting to go for the early mobility, and that could certainly hurt him in a meta where it's so important to get to your early buffs and rotate to those quickly. He's going for the power instead of the movement speed.
Yeah, and you see Captain Twig, he built Titan's Bane too. I don't personally like that. Getting percentage pen early game is not, it's not really effective compared to getting like a Jotun's Wrath with flat pen. You do more damage with the flat pen.
I absolutely agree with you. Very curious decision from Captain Twig to go into this percent.
Maybe it's because he went tank boots as well.
Could be. Well, he's ganking the right-hand side right now on Devios. And he goes for a nice little tumble down to Variety, who picks up that kill. So Twig gets himself straight back in the game.
Twig is just being the facilitator right now for Obey. That's exactly what he's here for. That's exactly what his playstyle has been the entire time that Obey's had this success. They've been giving Pretty Prime and Ataraxia these hard carry gods and allowing Twig, Variety, and Panda like to set up for them.
And Twig is definitely playing more aggressive this game. He's on the Fenrir. That's what he needs to do. He needs to make sure DJ Pernicus doesn't get as great a lead as he did last game and just focus on Pretty Prime.
And right now, even though he did gank the right-hand side, there is a small disparity between himself and DJ Pernicus as well. But items-wise, very, very even between the two. As we look towards mid lane now, where Panda like at level 9 has a small lead over Aurora on that Ymir.
And another wave shared in the middle lane because Pretty Prime is so far ahead as far as experience goes. That's the kind of advantage that gives you. You're allowed to split more waves and get those experience spread out throughout your entire team. Allow your supports to get a little bit ahead. We saw what Panalike could do whenever he was super far ahead in levels on Sylvanas, trying to do the same thing here on Kepri.
Obey have done a really good job, though, of attempting to control Eager's jungle the whole time. And when you think about the 5th game in a set as well, you've got to remember the timers of these buffs, and when they're not on the normal timers that you're used to, it can really throw you off.
This game is definitely slower paced compared to the other games. This is a best of 5, and this is a game 5. Definitely slower. I think if one team makes a mistake, another team is going to try and get as much as possible.
And you can see the biggest disparity as far as levels goes is in the duo lane. Ataraxia 2 levels up on Zapman, as well as a bunch of gold, about 500 gold in the lead, even despite that pass.
Wick goes in mid lane there, a little bit aggressive, looking for a pick, and he picks up Aurora, and Aurora will take a tumble down to Prime, but in comes DJ trying to make something happen. Sadly, not going to be the case.
Reactionary shell there from Pandalike, but didn't even need it. DJ was getting out as soon as possible. Ataraxia, I love this play, trying to bait Zapman into his own jungle, but again, a well-timed pick leads to an invade for Obey.
But we saw in the minimap there was a lot of pings on these left-hand harpies down from Eager saying, Twig is here, yet he still manages to go in and find the kill.
That's because Aurora's playing Ymir, can't really move around too much.
Meanwhile, Twig goes in again, looks towards Zapman, forced away with the Berserker Barrage, and Devios being in support. The Gold Fury reset for a moment as Obey fall back to their half of the map.
No sustain on either side this time around, except for that meditation from Varieties. Level 13 picked up a second relic already. Wrath is up for Captain Twig, but the pull is on to Aurora.
And they want Devios, and Devios is low, and Devios is dead, but round the back comes DJ Pernicus as the boys of Obey march forward. Aurora could be the focal point here for the team of Obey, and Aurora is running away from the pup that is Variety and his friends.
Pretty Prime just doing it all right now for Obey. 4-0-1 for the mid laner. Already level 13, another Gold Fury going the way of Obey.
And this is what you need, Fumble. You need to get off to a good pace, and right now, Captain Twig is the man I am looking at here. He's the only European player to come to 3 World Championships in a row, and he has stepped it up this game, even though he tumbled early.
And Captain Twig fed Zeus. That's what they needed to do, especially against the Ratataska, so Pretty Prime doesn't get abused by that Ratataska with dishwasher combo.
And why are you picking Anubis? To get pressure in the mid lane early. And we just haven't seen that from Best. You can see it's been Zeus because of that pressure from Captain Twig, because of the buff invades consistently on red. And you also have to give credit to Ataraxia on that left-hand side, making sure that he's pushing his lane before Zapman does to allow that rotation into the left side jungle.
The Cronus has also been super aggressive compared to usual. He got the early kill as well as Prime did in that first engagement, and that's what he needed. He needed to be ahead of this Jingwei, make sure Zapman is down. Zapman was the one that got them back into the game last game, and so on, so forth.
And Prime right now, 4.5k in terms of damage. Not a monstrous amount, but most of the kills. And that is so, so important to get Prime big, get him strong, get him comfortable as well. We saw his relic usage in the last engagement, nicely timed, to allow him to clean up Devios, who's being focused again.
Little bit of aggression still on the Devios, using it, but Aurora around the backside. There goes the dishwasher. Devios tosses Panda-like into the wall. One-man knockup. It's only Panda-like, but there's the ultimate from both.
But he's still alive.
And Aurora, how is he still alive?
He absorbs all that damage, and it comes to naught for Eager. Eager used 4 ultimates, and they don't even get a single kill.
Shell is good there for Panda-like. He's just able to use all of those ticks and absorb them all, basically, despite all that damage. I mean, Best hit almost all of his ticks from Death Gaze. It didn't matter. Like you mentioned, Hundu, 4 ultimates used.
That's best case for Panda-like. Panda-like didn't die there. He got the ultimate off early. They could have waited even if it was super low.
Yep.
But they didn't have the damage. DJ Pernicus did not have the damage there.
And credit where it was due as well to really what Panda-like chose to do there too, because what he did was he ran at the Anubis to get out the grasping hands, but to also try and avoid the damage from the ultimate too, which bought him more time.
Yeah, he was going to take the damage from the ticks anyway of the Anubis. So Kepri is a big bug. He's going to take all that damage. And yeah, that was a good play.
It worked out really well, and now Obey have a bit of a power play on the left-hand side here, as Zapman's not really back in his tower just yet.
Obey just working together as a unit. Panda-like not even here. He's in the middle lane trying to defend, but he might be in a little bit of trouble. But we saw how tanky he was last time, and that dissuades Eager from trying to do anything against him. T1 tower on the left-hand side goes down.
It's almost like Eager have forgotten who Panda-like is in this game, because Panda-like is very good at baiting. Twig goes in deep in the back though, forcing the ultimate out of the Best in response, and Ataraxia is here too, but here comes Devios as well.
Devios can't find the knock-up, can't find the root. Speaking of baiting, that was Pretty Prime baiting himself to get wrapped by Anubis, and then they immediately had Captain Twig jump in, get those purification and the ultimate as well.
I like what Kronos opted for. He went for the Obsidian shot instead of the winged one there, and they got the easy tower. He was doing plenty of damage onto the tower, and I feel like they should try and force mid. They're already ahead. They just force Best speeds as well.
Well, Variety's fighting 2 on the right-hand side. A little bit nervous there, so going to ult to make sure he can heal himself back up again and sustain in the lane.
But again, it's Variety. Look at the lead he's gotten himself over top of Devios. He's 3 levels up right now. You can see the XP per minute. Devios still 120 XP behind.
And this was due to Captain Twig's ganks as well. He got the one gank on Devios, forced him out of the lane, and then Variety had the option to farm as well.
And not only that, it's also been these invades over and over again into Eager's jungle. That red buff on the left-hand side for Eager, I don't think they've had one this game.
And that's what makes Jingten a weird soul laner. If he gets behind early game, he's more useless than he should have been. Last game he was against the Thanatos. He could farm, he could just wait until late game, but now he's against the Erlang Shen.
And Erlang Shen will just poke you to high heaven every single time.
Super pressure in the solo lane from Erlang Shen, and that's what I like, this adjustment that Obey has made. You know Divios is going to play Guardians of the solo lane. He's done it every single game this series. Give Variety an early game warrior. I still would have liked to see the Ymir, but obviously they got picked away from him. So making the best of that situation, and he's played it perfectly thus far.
And it has allowed Captain Twig to pick up this Fenrir this game then instead. A little bit less utility on him, so to speak. I say that, but Fenrir's got plenty in the grand scheme of things.
Just the initiations is the thing. Captain Twig now gonna jump in immediately. Best uses that ultimate, but he's just waiting it out, picks him up into the lightning storm. Khepri ultimate onto Twig, he doesn't even need it. He's gonna pick up the best.
And DJ in the sky, but the tower's already down, and Obey are 7-1 in the lead now. The speed buff on the right is up, and Captain Twig's gonna be there to deny DJ from even trying to go for it.
There it is, the jump, the stun, the wrap. DJ needs the sanctuary, trying to trade out, gets the stun, just able to
Is he gonna do it? He's gonna do it! He dives in and picks it up!
Twig still running, he's got the speed buff. No, Twig, don't back there, you're out. Just keep running through the tower.
No, he's through!
No
One more time over the wall! And Eager can't get him. Zapman, he wants to chase. It looks like he's gonna go for it. He needs a shot, and he's not gonna find it at the end. In comes Variety to help get his jungler away.
That is just heartbreaking if you're rooting for Eager. Captain Twig absolutely getting away with murder there. Luckily, Eager groups up, pushes down this right-hand tower, it looks like, but all the while, Obey fighting in the mid lane while Variety goes for a ride.
Against the world he is right now in 3 members of Eager, and I think he was looking to trade that out, but he will fall down here at the end. Even with meditation, he won't have enough time to get the transformations back up.
But Obey gets a tier 2 tower in middle. Not only is that 1,500 gold into Obey's favor, pushing that lead dangerously close to that 10,000 gold difference, but you're making that already difficult to play and difficult position Anubis have less places to run in the map.
And even though Vari got picked there, they got the mid tower. That's what they wanted. Tier 2 is way more important.
Twig it again, and he's gonna pick on Zapman, forcing the purification one more time. Twig is just feeling himself so much this game.
Twig is playing so well. It's not about the adapting style Fenrir where he's doing 1,000,000 damage and killing everyone. It's about getting relics, getting those timers, and then looking for the engage. We saw him do it in the middle lane against Best, gets the ult, gets the purification, then next time comes in, picks him up in the Ragnarok, and that opens up the map.
Well, here comes Zapman again, looking at Ataraxia, but Zapman took a big brunt of damage, and Captain Twig will clean him up. We will salute you, Twig, as he's about to potentially fall down. No, that's still alive again.
DJ can't find it, the brutalized DJ falls Ataraxia, now it's Aurora running for his life, nowhere to go, toss it back in, Variety able to pick it up. 3 dead for Eager.
And the tier 1 tower on the right will fall as well. Only 2 towers and 3 phoenixes stand between Obey and the Titan that will take him to the World Championships.
Ataraxia is just doing so much damage right now for Obey. He just waited, and now finally makes the rotation over to the right-hand side and makes a big impact.
The Cronus is ahead. This is what we needed. We didn't need the Soul Waves, just passive. We needed the early aggression and the 16k XP up.
Divios teleports in, trying to slow them down, but walks into an army, and another member of Eager falls as this Fire Giant is still being done. Zapman is not on his way, it seems. They're going to give this one up, and allow Obey the free Fire Giant.
Panaleg is
he's a troll.
One of a kind. I mean, this guy, he's about to go to, he's looking like he's about to go to the finals of Worlds after almost losing a series where you went up 2-0, and then he just trolls and gets reset by the Fire Giant using his own ultimate.
Listen, I only brought in the story of Worlds 1 for the fact that that seems to always happen in these best-of-5 series from what I've seen. Teams can go 2 ahead, but if it gets back to 2-2, the team that started off are generally the ones that seem to find that little bit of fire at the end.
And that's what, going back to what Polar Bear Mike was telling me, it's just so difficult. You use so much of your mental and physical energy to get back, and then you're finally even. But Obey was just coasting through those games, basically. Yes, they were trying very hard, but it isn't that same sort of mental strain to get back into the series.
I just want to go over Captain Twig one more time for the fact that during the last few engagements we've seen him, he was equal level until now where he's got a big boost. He was relatively even with the rest of Team Eager. He had fallen behind early when we saw him take a tumble, which looked like nerds to me on that left-hand side. And since then, he has worked wondrously to put his team on his back and take him towards the finals.
Ever since that first engagement on the left-hand side, like you mentioned, where he gets picked off for free, he's had an absolutely unbelievable game, stepping up when they need him most.
Well, Eager are going to try and do their best to stop, but Twig is having none of that. He picks up Aurora and brings him back like a dog, like a bone. Next on the list is DJ, who jumps in, trying to slow them down.
Prime!
The boys of Eager are going to be pushed back in the base by Prime and the Zeus ultimate.
Just too much damage. Divio's barely able to escape by the skin of his teeth, but Ataraxia still full health, swinging at these Phoenixes. Left one already down, middle Phoenix as well. 13-2, Obey absolutely dominant.
And now the final Phoenix stands between Obey and the Titan 2. Devios trying to slow them down, but Devios is dead again. The magical damage is too much as Twig stands in front of 3, and he doesn't care right now as Panda Light will keep him alive once more.
Still 5 members of Obey here at the Titan. 4 members here for Eager. The wall off from Aurora keeps them out of the Titan room for now, but it looks like, oh, Prime almost finds him.
And Zapman gets caught too, forced to purify away back to base. Variety still looking at DJ here as the boys of Obey are looking to just bomb Eager in their spawn room.
Aurora now taking a ton of damage. The wall comes out, but the Titan, it's falling too fast. Obey, Alliance, they're going to the finals!
Europe claims first blood! And right now, there you have it, Obey Alliance, a team that was formed at the start of the year of renegades, of randos, put together by Ataraxia and Pretty Prime, and now they're the first European finalists.